Hello and welcome to this emergency pod, which is coming to you live, well, semi-live, from the SUP company down here, Woodmill in Southampton, which, if you don't know where Southampton is, it's on the south coast of England. And I'm joined by none other than the 2024 SUP Connect Popular Choice Woman of the Year, Sarah SUPJunkie Thornely, who had an epic year last year, didn't you?
I think so, yeah. It had its ups and downs. There were moments of madness, but on the whole it ended on a complete high, and I'm really happy, and I'm looking forward to this year as well. Thanks for having me, Simon. Well,
always a pleasure to have you on the show. So let's just look back to 2024. So obviously you got that nomination and you won an international prize. I think it's important not to understate the value of that award, because the SUP Connect Awards is the equivalent of the Oscars for the SUP industry, and you had the popular choice on the back of your identity as a SUP racing expert and commentator internationally now. So, I mean, how did it feel to get that level of recognition from your peers in the industry?
Well, first of all, the nomination was amazing, and I think you've got a lot to do with that, so I thank you wholeheartedly for that. So the nomination was brilliant, and people say it's all about the nomination. No, to me, I'm very competitive. I wanted to win. So, and to have all those people vote for you, because there are two awards. One is the People's Choice, which I won, and one is the sort of Judges' Choice. You know, they have a really big panel of experts in the field of SUP racing or SUP adventure, whatever you like, and so there are two awards and they're both really worthy, but to get that People's Choice where you know that people have made the effort to vote for you, so I'm really grateful. And it's like all these things, it's after the event and when you sit on it for a little while and you realise it and you go, yeah, that's pretty cool, pretty cool. And when I look back at the past, the previous winners, it's just like, wow, they're, you know, pretty legendary, even the People's Choice. It's a lovely thing to have, really lovely thing to have. I'm very grateful.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, I want to talk a bit more about 2024, your 2024 and the ICF Worlds and Sarasota and your experience of covering that. But this is an emergency podcast because of some fantastic news that came through earlier this week from the ICF Paddle Summit in China, which was an announcement about a stellar event, and it's some recognition of this island's contribution to the culture of SUP over the last few years. And that was the awards of an ICF World Cup event to Torbay, a location we know very well. So what were your feelings of that announcement? Because I know we're both very invested in it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we had a little bit of a heads up as to what was going on, a few inklings, you know, a few coded messages, I suppose, and that is what you want for your SUP racing community. You want that for your SUP community as well. We know how big it is. The fact that it's ended up in Torbay with Brendon is like the icing on the cake. He has had the foresight and the kudos, quite frankly, to put that bid in with Paddle UK. And we mustn't underestimate the value of the team that made it happen. It's not just about Brendon, it's not just about Paddle UK, it's not just about Torbay Council. It's a bigger picture than that. So we mustn't underestimate how amazing this is for not only the SUP community, but the SUP racing community, the local community, the whole country, actually. I'm so excited about it. You know, when I first went to an international event in London, where we launched SUPjunkie, actually, 2018, the APP World Tour, when I saw the people that I admired, Kai Lenny, Candice, it just completely changed my sort of perception of SUP racing. I watched them live rather than watching them on, you know, SUP Racer or Total SUP. I watched them live, and that was so exciting. It inspired me to want to be involved forever, in a way. You know, I was anyway, but I think it's brilliant for the whole of our community, and I'm absolutely delighted for Brendon, because he has put in so much hard work, and he will, by his own admission, say that he's not a SUP racer. I mean, he paddled around the UK, kudos for that, but he has put the work in to bring this to the country, and I'm really delighted for him.
Absolutely, and you did talk about it there. This is a result of a huge amount of collaboration. So Brendon Prince, as we know, world record holder, paddled back round the islands of Great Britain a few years ago now, but has been really building up the profile of the sport, working in conjunction with Paddle UK, who's the league governing body for the sports in this country, and also the Torbay District Council, who are really working to make Torbay a destination for SUP, and obviously that's been supported by the events which we're going to be talking about a little bit later as well. SUP 12 and Super Championships, which was the event which has led to this World Cup. And I think there are other opportunities as well for SUP and supporting the sport in the UK that come from this, because this is a hugely high profile event happening in Torbay in 2026, and that gives a really good lead up for the sport to really start talking about that and starting to encourage the culture of racing within the country, and obviously supporting the Super Championships, which will be happening in September this year as well. So it really gives a shot in the arm, doesn't it, to the racing community in the UK. And you spoke to Brendon earlier this week. Let's hear a bit of that interview now.
So we are talking today on what must be one of the most exciting days in the SUP history of the UK, and I can say that with authority. We've had a big event here before. We had the Euro Tour 9 years ago, but since then, there has not been an event as big as the one that we are going to talk about. And it is because today you put out the news that Torbay has secured the ICF, which is the International Canoe Federation SUP World Cup, and that will be happening in June next year, which is just a hop and a skip away, really. So if anybody doesn't know who Brendon Prince is, you really came to all of our notice when you paddled around the UK in 2021. An amazing feat. But you have run events. You have recently, you've run SUP 12 very successfully. We're just about to go into our third year. I say our because I'm heavily invested in it. And last year you ran Super Champs, which will give the reason why that was such a big deal for you. But can you just give us a little bit of your sort of SUP history and what events you may have held?
I've had a life on the water. And I think whenever you had a life on the water, you're always searching for that next thing which embraces the water in another way. And SUP suddenly came along, and I loved it. I loved it because I could surf on it. I loved it because I could travel on it. I could go places on a SUP. I loved that, to be able to power into your own steam. And that really sort of fitted in with my water lifestyle. And as you know, all my background with the water safety and what I'm trying to promote there, paddle around the UK just seemed a very obvious thing just to do. But it's given me the platform to move on from that, use that. But obviously my own paddling, I still enjoy 3 or 4 hours a day paddling, most of the time, and this time of year is in the dark, because that's very much me. And when I'm so embraced and so into something, I want it to be the kind of best it can be. And I could obviously see the UK, I put my first event on, a SUP event, in 2015, so 10 years ago. And we had 19 people because the council actually put a cap on it because they didn't really know what SUP was, and said, well, you can't have any more than 20 people because we don't know what's going to happen. You're all going to paddle off to France. So, that's a long time ago, and you can see real potential. And the fact that the stats show that we've got 600,000 odd recreational paddlers loving the sport, or rather loving the activity. So let's get them to love the sport. And that's what this is all about. And you've got to see it to believe it and to make it happen in your own life. And if we can bring international athletes on a World Cup scale to the UK, then people will be able to see it and think, do you know what? I can do that. I can be that person. And that's how we're going to progress the sport in the UK.
Yeah. And how ironic that Torbay Council once said to you, oh no, we can't have too many, just 20, please. And now they are absolutely behind this major event, aren't they?
It shows how they have developed and embraced the water culture, the ocean that is on their doorstep, in a different way than they did 10 years ago. And that was indicative to most councils back then. Whereas now it's the health, the happiness, the well-being and all of that of the ocean and salt water. And SUP is a great way of doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. We all know that. So this is a really big question. Where the hell do you start with something like this? Pitching for this idea. When did you start to think, ICF World Cup event or world ranking event?
Well, I did a few events myself. I'm not about racing personally, unless we do. I mean, I'd love to do a race around the UK, that type of thing. That's my type of racing. I love racing. I'm a competitive soul, so I love embracing that, and I love the people that do that type of thing as well. And it's a subculture, and you're getting involved in that, and that's all awesome. So I saw that, and I just thought. Then with a couple of races, and actually I was on holiday and saw a race in France, and there were 500 people in it. And I just thought, what are we doing? What are we not doing in the UK to promote this? I'm very blessed with sponsors, and let's face it, the UK SUP scene is not really going to explode until external sponsors. So people who have nothing to do with the sport are the sponsors. That's where the real money comes. And I've been blessed with those type of sponsors. So if I could get those back in, I thought, you know what? Let's start prodding. Let's start finding out. And obviously, a new governing body in the likes of Paddle UK, we could start conversations about that. And there were some cul-de-sacs. There were some dead ends. There were lots of banging. And I do that really well. I bang my head against the wall really well until doors seem to open. And some people think it's a bullet in the chime shot. I just think I'm just passionate. And I don't mind people saying no to me as long as they've got a reason for saying no. So if they just say no, I don't accept it, and I keep banging my head. So that was 18 months ago, where I said, not only do I think we need to do this, but I've got a great location for you to do it in.
Yeah.
And that was embraced, but I had to prove all of that. And, not being a big name in the world of racing, I obviously started to ask people who were if they could support and help. And I must admit, a lot of that was a bit negative, really. So I had to just do it myself. So that's kind of history now, in that I think if you've got a passion, and I think if you're 100% into it, and people can see the reasons of why you're into it, and you can back it up with facts and evidence and finances, then all of a sudden you get things done.
Yeah. And Paddle UK, they are really trying their best. They've really tried their best with me. I think they've been very good. They've got a tough gig.
I'll be honest with you. I think Paddle UK have been awesome. Absolutely awesome. From a point of view of, they've had to go from zero to hero. Sport which is unique. It's not like another paddle sport. It's unique because it's got the vibe and the passion and the love of a more surfing community, but it's got all the fundamentals of a traditional kayaking. So it's completely different, and you're not going to get it all right. They haven't got 1,000 people to just sort it all out and suddenly become this, a governing body that's been in place for 25 years and knows exactly how to run it. So I am full of praise of them. They are absolutely trying to get as much right, but they're going to leave huge holes in different areas until they fill those gaps and they get it all done. So they've been, without their support, without their, they have to bid for it. You can't bid for anything without them. So you convince them, you work with them. They've got a great team of people that I've been working with, and they and me have put this together to make it happen. So, I'm a big believer in, until you actually experience something with the people, the organization, yourself, you can't comment on it. And I'm dealing with them, and I'm commenting and saying they're brilliant.
Good.
Admit not 100% yet, but give them a bit of slack. They've only been doing it for a couple of years.
Yeah. No, I agree. They've been really supportive to me, to my work, and for this, for this particular thing that we're talking about, all hail Paddle UK, really, because without them, this would not have happened, would it?
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. So it's a World Cup event. There are world ranking events. So this year, in a few weeks' time, we've got Comacchio, Italy, where I went last year, and the lovely Simone from their Delta SUP. He has immediately told me he's coming to Torbay next year. So he is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. I've also had an international athlete who travels the world message me and said, where's the nearest airport, please? And that's really exciting. Within just a few hours, you've got people who are sort of pledging their support and wanting to come over. Are you going to be watching these events this year and looking at them and following them just to get some thoughts, ideas? Is your event, is it set in stone? How does that work?
Do you know what? Very much so. It's all about embracing what everyone else does really well, and obviously upping the game on it. And one thing that really works for the English Riviera is our location. It's an internationally renowned geopark. So from the water, it's truly stunning. Amazing back beach. Now it has history. It has real history from, the Victorians exploiting it, and it was the coastal destination in the UK. Now, obviously, it's had a checkered history since then, and not everyone understands the new era that is the English Riviera and Torbay. And it's what I'm trying to do with destination development is put that new era in. And holding an international event like this really does help with that. And, it's a location, because of its geography and setting, it's placid water most of the time. It's staged, to be able to stage a sprint event, the sprint events in the harbours to offer what I want to create is an absolute arena, is going to be special. And there's some major development, costing millions of pounds within harbour developments within the English Riviera to support and do that. Plus, then the technical event on a beach that is sheltered but can have a little bit of a wave, and then a distance event, which I categorically say within that distance event, and we haven't decided on the actual distance yet, but let's say it's something between an hour's race, so 10, 12, 13K sort of distance. There's not many places on planet Earth that you can take some of the geography and actually what you can see, because we're a geopark, one of only 140 in the world. It's truly special. It's truly special. And I am a champion for that, because it needs to be just as much fun for the athlete as it has to be for the spectator and the layperson who just wants to watch, and everybody in between.
Yeah, it's a great spectator spot, that's for sure. I mean, I love it. Locations of ICF events. Now, this is interesting, isn't it? Because people might go, well, what's so special about Torbay? Every ICF event, someone's got a bit of a problem with it. So in Poland, it's all too rough. There's rough water. Sarasota, it's a bit flat here. Why are we doing it on flat water? So no one size area, body of water fits everybody, does it? My belief, this is my personal opinion, is that if you are truly entering a world-class event, you should be able to paddle on any water at all. I loved Poland. I was on the beach. I wasn't paddling, but it was wild, absolutely wild. And some of the paddlers loved it. But a lot of people had to just say, I can't actually do that. And then we went to very, very flat water. And it is exciting. All racing, if you love it, is exciting. But there is no one size fits all, is there?
Exactly. And you know what? In life, no matter what you put out there, 20% of people won't like it, because that's just life. And I always found with events, and I've been doing events, so putting major events on since 2001, 1,500 people, a competitor type events, so big events. And you just find that 20% of people, black is in fact white and white is in fact black. That's just the way it is. I'm hoping that what we can show is the sprints will be super explosive, but actually you're going to see stadium seating. You're going to have stadium seating right next to you. So in a way that a footballer or a rugbyer, is in a stadium, that people are on top of you. That's what I want to create for the paddlers.
Yeah.
And likewise, then what we can offer, let's say on the technical event, is they're turning in front of 1,000 people watching on stadium seating, watching that turn. That's the type of different eventing that I want to put out there, with the big screens, with the vibe, with the
blaring music, please. We want lots of music.
It's you create a true spectator sport where the spectators are engaged and want to be there all day, and that means if that's happening, then the competitors are going to love it.
Yeah,
and it goes full circle then, because the sponsors love it and the people paying the checks love it. So that's all about, and that takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of teams to get it done. But this event it's £250,000 stage. It's and then some. So we got lots to do, lots to achieve, and I'm just super excited. And the fact that it was officially announced today, and I did a 4-hour planning meeting today on it, shows just how absolutely gung-ho we want to be on this.
Yeah, this is your life now, Brendon. So we're hoping for as many paddlers as possible, hopefully a couple of hundred international paddlers. They will come. They're more likely to come if there's prize money. Now, all ICF events have prize money.
Yeah, exactly that. They'll have prize money. We're going to have some real interesting stuff as well, because I want people to go, okay, that really works for me. And there are many different ways, especially from an athlete's point of view, that you can provide. You can make their life a lot easier with the season ahead with other things as well.
Yeah,
I'm keeping that under my hat at the minute, but let's put it this way. If you're an athlete traveling the world, you need to travel, you need to stay places, and you need the right kit. Plus, you need money in your back pocket to be able to pay for stuff. So there are 4 different things there that we can help with that aren't just plain cash, because in 2025, cash is difficult. We're not going to have some good cash prizes, but also there's going to be some other stuff that people are going to go, that is worth traveling and winning. So bear with us on that, because we got some exciting stuff and some exciting sponsors who are excited about providing those things.
Yeah.
So that's really important, because I think as an event, that shows how we respect the people who are going to come to the event. And I want 200 people from around the world to come and really engage. The environment, we couldn't make it any easier for them, as in how easy it is to travel, to stay, and the options we'll give for people to be able to stay and look after the kit. And, we're going to make that as easy as possible for them. So, of course, if we get 200 of those, we're going to get 800 others come in. So we want 1,000 competitors to this event. I'm actually aiming at 1,200 so that we can definitely get that.
Aim high.
Exactly. And there's no reason why we can't. And this is why it's so important. 2025, not just my events, but all the other kind of individual events that spark people's interest in as a sport, but also GB SUP series, and what they do. Everybody has to embrace, because actually, if we're all being pushing ourselves along in that direction, everybody's going to benefit from it. And most importantly, the people and paddlers of the UK.
Yeah, and it is all about those people, isn't it? It's not about egos. It's not about personal ideas of things. It's basically, when I heard this news, and I think I said to you, no one should be upset about this news. No one. If you love SUP racing, you should be absolutely applauding that this event is coming to the UK, whoever is running it, and actually wherever it is. If it wasn't you, if it was someone else, we have to applaud it. It is so exciting. So, yeah, we want to see all those paddlers. And yeah, someone's saying, oh, I won't enter. And I went, mate, you can. There'll be an inflatable class. There'll be other stuff going on as well. So just bring a board and, get stuck in. But those incentives for those top class athletes are, I think these days especially, really, really important. And it is I've had conversations myself with athletes who are trying to get to various venues. Can you help? Do you know anyone in Germany? Do you know, if you can help them, and I've helped paddlers coming to this country for the APP World Tour, I pick them up from airports, I've lent them a board, it really does help, doesn't it? They've got to travel the world. This is their job, but often it's not a full paid job. So
exactly. respect that and support them. It's not just a case of putting these things on and then just, well, if you got to get here. It's helping them to do that and making it as that road as easy as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So Helen and the kids must be overjoyed that your life is now going to be wrapped up for the next 15 months with something else.
Yeah, let's just add it to the list.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Hey, embrace life, and the more you can achieve for the greater good. Why am I so excited about this? Let the real secret out, because if this is as international as I want to make it, and I'm slipping in those water safety messages, and just one human being benefits from that, I've achieved everything I need to achieve, let alone this event as well. So that's what it all boils down to. And I can sleep through the night then. So that's all good.
So everything you do on the water just comes back to that time on the beach, doesn't it? Makes me feel quite emotional thinking about it, because I know the story. I've seen the film. It's very emotional, that bit where you talk about the incident that happened. But everything you do in this positive, forward thinking is really to save that one person, isn't it, in the water?
Totally. Because you know what? That one person can be your loved one. That's how easy it can happen. So, we want to embrace this. We live on an island, for goodness sake. So let's embrace it. Let's promote the health and happiness. But if I said, right, Sarah, let's have a 45-minute discussion about water safety, no one will listen. No one would come on here and listen. I know they love you, so perhaps a few would. But but we're doing everything else, and that's all part of it. It's just there, so that one person could make a right decision rather than a wrong decision, and live through that water experience because of learning that information. So it all comes back to that. And do you know what? This is just the start of it, and that just means, as I say, I can look those faces in the eye at 1 o'clock in the morning and go to sleep.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, that is very, very important. Let's backtrack to Super Champs. You'd run SUP 12 for a couple of years, and obviously that's coming up very, very soon, which is an endurance event inspired by Last Paddler Standing. Super Champs, so you decided to have that event to be able to showcase that you could hold an ICF World Cup event.
I had to show the potential of... It was seen out of the UK that actually our events in the UK don't have enough people attending them. So how could we warrant having an international event? So I had to showcase that could be done. And in year one, we had 162 competitors for the Super Champs. So we showed it could be done. And I am expecting 500 competitors for this year's Super Champs in September. So we've got that platform in there, but we will continue to work with the likes of all the individual events around the UK, and as I say, the GB SUP series, to promote that, because we've got to get that base, that triangle has got to be as big as possible if we want, and this is the pinnacle of not just the key names who we know will do well in a World Cup in 2026 on their home turf, but hopefully 10 new people that we haven't even seen yet that are going to come out of the woodwork this year and surprise us then next year. Then that's what it's so important, and we've got to grow that support upwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are those people hidden out there. You do find these little hidden gems, and suddenly you see someone racing and potentially winning. You're like, where the hell did they come from? It's really exciting, because there are some really good paddlers out there who don't race, but maybe this race will inspire them to get stuck in.
Do you know what? And we put together the 25-meter sprints, of which we couldn't hold the main event in the Super Champs because we had the storm on the Sunday, but we've done some stuff since. And I had this one girl who, I'll be honest, couldn't paddle for toffee, but was wild in the 25-meter sprints and put time together that was only hundreds of a millisecond behind some actually really good paddlers. And all of a sudden you think, actually, we spend a bit of time with you, girl, and who knows Who knows? And that's what is truly inspirational to see. And I hope we get that through lots of events this year, but also obviously the Super Champs this year.
Yeah. There've been I did a little study about participation numbers actually for someone abroad who wanted to know. And it was quite interesting that the standalone events were the ones last year and possibly the year before drawing in the numbers. They had the bigger numbers. It was just quite an interesting exercise to do. And obviously your event was one of them. And actually the Shack last year was pretty high up there as well. And standalone events like Race to the Castle are getting the bigger numbers. So I think you
got almost 200 for, a 12-hour endurance event, which is SUP 12. Who would think that there would be that many people who want to put through that for 12 hours, which is awesome. It's absolutely awesome.
So let me absolutely congratulate you on all of your hard work and really big up Paddle UK as well for stepping up and putting that bid in. Oh, how do people get involved? I mean, is it going to be another new Facebook page and a Instagram and all that goes with it?
Yeah, all that will come. It's putting these sort of committees together to work out, because there needs to be teams on this, and collating those who want to get involved in any way, whether it be partnering and sponsoring a course on one end, through to supporting and volunteering on another end. So starting to put that together is important, because we need a massive team effort on this. So yeah, just watch this space. I've put aside this week just for the amount of interviews I've got lined up. And then next week we go full tilt into creating that. And so I want people to experience the journey with us. I've never put a World Cup ICF event on before. So I'm going to be sharing those ups and downs as we go along for the next 15, 16.
Brilliant. And you need any sponsors, anybody who's interested in getting involved in this event, however small, however big, contact Brendon Prince, yes?
Exactly that. And this is a huge vehicle for not just promoting our sport and the location that is in the English Riviera, but it's also about promoting businesses and brands. And the more businesses and brands around our sport, within our sport, that we can help promote and get back on their feet, because everybody in the sport we know is struggling. Really, they're not doing what they could be doing, and this sort of thing is where we can actually give back and help them to make that extra pound, and then everybody benefits from it.
And you've got your first board butler. Mr. Carl Hobbs has put his hand straight up and said he will be there as a board butler. He's such a
I love that guy, and Carl, I think, epitomizes so many in the sport who, I can't perhaps compete, but I'm there. I'm going to make it happen for everyone else. And that's just awesome.
Yeah. And he did compete for a very long time, and he was bloody good, actually, very fast. So, Brendon, thank you so much for your time, because I know that you're a very busy man. So I really had to tie you down immediately, because you're going to be lost now. But I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate everything you do for stand-up paddleboard racing. So thank you so much.
God bless, Sarah. Love you.
So before we look forward to this year, looking back at 2024, you've already spoken a little bit about your SUP Connect Award, but you also got involved in the ICF World Championships in Sarasota, Florida, co-commentating with Mathieu from Total SUP. Just tell us a bit about that experience.
Oh, where do I start? I could talk forever for it. It's the absolute highlight, probably of my life, and that's taking nothing away from my children. But I got a phone call on the Thursday from Matty just talking about the media team and the lack of the media team, and he suggested that I call Hoi Chan from the ICF, and I was a little bit like a rabbit in the headlights, because I was like, well, I'm not going, I can't do this. Anyway, I did contact, and I was offered the job, and I flew out on the Sunday. It was a whirlwind of emotions and just getting my house in order at home, putting things to bed for the week. And I flew out, and I knew that Matty and I would work together. I've been hounding him for years to let me come in on one of his gigs. Please have me. We'll work well together. And I think we did a pretty good job. We had a huge amount of support and love from not only people on the ground there, but from others around the world. I had some amazing messages. One of the things I was most worried about was sitting there with the headphones on and trying to commentate with the director maybe talking in your ear. I just thought that's not going to happen. Anyway, that was very quickly put to bed as not an issue at all. I loved it. Working with Matty was an absolute joy and an honour. He is so professional. He's so good at his job. His knowledge, his memory of paddlers and the boards that they're riding, the paddles that they're using is huge. And I could not have had the best teacher in Matty. I do what I do and I love it and I'm very good at it. But his level he's another level. So to sit with him for 5 days and commentate on the world stage was just an absolute joy, and I will be forever, ever grateful. And I'm hoping to go back to Abu Dhabi this year. And it has led on to different things. It's been amazing. But the best thing was working with Matty, but the team as well. I mean, they had this room, which was, I think I sent you photographs, this room full of tech. I mean, it was like, well, it was on the TV, but it was just insane, the amount of tech. And I just walked in and just went, oh, complete newbie here, please look after me. And they did. The Americans, they were so lovely. They just want to look after you and make sure that you have the best experience. So professional. The director was amazing, very sort of straight, which is what I like, but very lovely, very professional. And I think we went off pretty much, without a hitch. I had a couple of moments where I was up in the booth without Matty, and we were getting near the time. And he loves the paddlers. He loves being around the paddlers. He loves talking to them and being with them and taking selfies and interviewing. And I'd be sat there with a couple of minutes to go, going, Matty, please come. We're just about to go on air, and I need you. So I could have started off on my own, but it was, as I say, it was the best thing I've done in my SUP career and possibly in my life. It was amazing, and just. I didn't have any fears about doing the job because I knew that I could do it. I just had this fear about earphones and, double talk and whatever, but it was a joy, an absolute joy.
So 5 days is a pretty intense endurance event when you're broadcasting live, not only via the interweb, but also it went out on the PA, didn't it, across the racetrack as well. But it was absolutely seamless and sounded hugely professional from the hours that I listened to. So that was fantastic. Were there any specific race or sprints or anything like that really stand out for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And let me just say as well, not only was it going out live on the social media channels and on the tannoy, which was lovely, it was also going out live on American TV, and apparently over the 5 days they had 100,000 viewers, and the director would drop in the number the first time. So, oh my goodness, I'm glad I didn't know this was happening. But yeah, that quite insane figures really. Paddlers, I mean, the GB team were there, which was very exciting, and most of those paddlers I know. And for me, one of the most joyous things was watching Anna Little win the sprints. It was 100 metres this year, and actually that made it so exciting. It was straight line sprints out of the bucket. The wind was quite crazy at the event. They thought that the sprints should have been changed. Maybe they should have been changed a day, but they held it on this particular day, and depending on which lane you got, you were lucky or unlucky. That's racing really, depending on where you are. But Anna Little, she had a good first round or semi. I can't remember how many rounds she had. She's in the 50 plus, and Anna has not raced internationally before. She just went really with her son James. She thought, well, if I'm going, I might as well race. Why not? And James taught her about sculling because the wind was pushing her board, and she said that made all the difference for her final. And to watch her win, and Matty was just so gracious. Before the sprint day finals, we had decided that he would commentate, because there can't be two of you commentating on 100 metre sprints. It happens too quickly, and he's very professional, knows the paddlers so well. So he had that job, and I could then talk about it afterwards. But in Anna's heat, he handed it over to me as if to say, "This is your girl, go for it." And it was I just wanted to cry. Yeah. I think I almost did actually. Because to see someone like Anna, who is so invested in SUP racing, she's got such a good heart, she's a beautiful, beautiful girl, and from a lovely family, and to see her go, and she's so humble, really, really humble. And to see her win a gold medal it was the biggest thrill for me at that event, for sure. And then watching Katniss Paris from America, who'd, again, new racer, you know, she's a circus performer, she's quite a character, she's got this crazy wild blonde hair, and she had been putting out some insane speeds, what she was achieving before the event. And there were paddlers there who were saying, no, she can't possibly go that fast. Well, hey, she absolutely smashed 100-metre sprints in the open class. She was incredible. So definitely one to watch. It was just lovely to see people that I've been following for years, people that I know. You know, Michael Booth had a shocker in the distance because his paddle broke. As he powered away off the line, his paddle broke in half. You can't come back from that. And to see Shrimpy as well win, you know, it was just lovely. Yeah, really, really lovely. But watching it's always great to be with the, you know, Team GB and not Team GB, the GB SUP team, and watch them perform, because they're all so brilliant. And Annie Ridsell-Smith as well. I mean, I used to race with Annie. We raced together for years, and we were pretty level. I gave up. She's just carried on, and she's gone out and got on the international scene, and still performing brilliantly. So kudos again to Annie. She's fantastic.
Brilliant. What a 2024, and looking forward to 2025. You've mentioned that you may well be going out, being part of the team for the Abu Dhabi event in I think it's September, October, isn't it? But we've got a couple of events that are coming up over the summer that we're both participating in. One which I can hardly believe it's in its third year now, SUP 12. We're broadcasting live from the beach for the full 12 hours. In fact, the time that we tend to cover is slightly more than 12 hours.
14.
Exactly. But it's a source of great joy, I think, and you know, it's definitely got an incredible ethos to it. This year we're paddling off Paignton Beach, so that's the third venue that we've tried. Torbay as a venue has got lots and lots of beaches, so I'm not quite sure when we'll run out of them if we're doing this different beach every year, but this year will be the greatest. I know we've got more numbers of paddlers paddling this year, and we've also got an expansion of the format, haven't we?
We have. Brendon's very clever at doing something slightly different, and SUP 12 was born of Last Paddler Standing in Florida. He went to do that event, and he just thought, what can I do in this country that is similar but different? And hey, he came up with SUP 12, which is fantastic. A lot of people are freaked out by that. You know, I was talking to a girl in the middle of the week, and I'm trying to encourage. She's not a racer, but I just said, come down and have a go. And she's like, 12 hours. No, just do what you like. Do a lap. Come and just join in. You know, come and be part of the scene. But this year we've got SUP 12's baby brother or sister, SUP 6. So for those who really feel they cannot commit to that 12, or if it's, you know, quite scary, you've got SUP 6, which will start, you know, in the middle of the day. So they're not all starting together, so they're all finishing together, which is such a clever idea. So if you haven't got yourselves entered yet, do it. You can do it in a team, you can do it as a pair, you can just come down and paddle a couple of laps. You can paddle a lap, have a rest for an hour. It's such a clever event, but you do have those crazy people who will just not stop. One Paul Simmons I'm thinking about. Yeah,
indeed. The rep for Starboard who won it last year. So those of you who are still catching up on what SUP 12 is, it's a 3.5 mile loop, a course marked up off a beach in Torbay. As we mentioned, this year it's Paignton. The idea is you do as many laps as you can, and then the winner is the one that does the most laps over that 12-hour period. So yeah, as you said, it starts at 7 o'clock and finishes at 7 p.m, so that takes you through the whole tide cycle. And this year, SUP 6, that starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon for those 6 hours. And last year we had the introduction of prone paddling. So prone paddling, it's the hardcore relation of stand-up paddling, the original paddle boarding. You know, being down in that confined position for 12 hours is quite something. But this year they're also adding with surf ski, so you'll be able to do it on a surf ski this year So yeah, an expansion of that format.
It's going to be great, and I love this cross sort of pollination of sports. It's happening quite a lot with, say, canoe clubs opening their races to SUP, or OCs being involved. I think it's really healthy for the sport, because a lot of us do that cross training anyway, so why not encourage others to try other sports, or just get these guys together. The prone paddling is, or paddleboarding as it is historically called, is quite something. And you think, lying down on your tummy it might be slightly easier, but no, you have constantly got this salty water spray in your face. And one of our best prone paddleboarders is James Fletcher from Scotland. He's back in training. I'm not sure that we'll see him for this SUP 12, but we wish you well, James Fletcher, and we look forward to seeing you on the water soon. But it's a great event, and one of the quirky things that I think Brendon has learnt from Greg Wingo, who's the race director of the Alabama 650 and Last Paddler Standing, is to make it bloody difficult for these paddlers, make them have to think, mess with their minds. And for SUP 12, the messing with your mind bit is where you come off the water, you don't just go around a flag, you have to go past your food station, your seat station, your comfort station. And so do you stop? Do you carry on? So it's a real pull, isn't it? And
Absolutely.
A draw, and it really is not just the physical aspect of paddling that will get you through to the end, it's the mental side of it as well.
Exactly. You're walking past all your well-wishers, you're walking past everyone else who maybe not be on such a tight schedule as you are, and they're sat down and having their bacon sandwich or whatever. But the top performers, like Paul Simmons, who won it last year, Tanya Eckhart, who did the same for the women, it's about running through every transition, so not a second is wasted. But just to finish off on SUP 12, it has the most incredible ethos and atmosphere going, because everyone is in one place for 12 hours. Everyone loves paddling, or everyone supports paddling, so it's a fantastic atmosphere all day, and respect to everyone who takes part, whether they do 30, 40, 50 laps, or whether they just do a couple. They're all in it for the experience, and it's been fun.
It's been great fun, and it's lots of paddling, lots of talking. We'll be getting our steps in for sure, because we try and walk up and down the beach and see all these people. But we'll be going live. We'll be having some special guests as well on our live feed, which will be exciting. So to break up the monotony of just Simon and my voice.
For 12 plus hours. Good. So there's obviously lots of incredible SUP events that are going on in the UK. We've obviously focused on those and the international, but I just wanted to talk briefly about the Crossing, which is an annual paddle race, so all disciplines, and it goes from the Bahamas to Florida. And the purpose for the race is to raise money for cystic fibrosis. And 80 miles, which is the distance that they have to cross, a pretty significant distance in anyone's language. So that's heading off this summer. Last year it was won by a friend of the show, Maddie LeBlanc, but last year's experience was quite tough, because about 30 odd miles in, when the elite paddlers was near the finishing line, they got hit by some pretty extreme conditions, and that meant that some of the paddlers had to be picked up and taken back by boat. Now, one of those competitors is someone that we're really looking forward to speaking to later on in the season, who's Rylee Walker, who is a sufferer of cystic fibrosis. So this race really means something to her, and she's currently in the process of raising money to support a documentary about her experience competing in this race. So if anyone does have the odd dollar or pound which is burning a hole in their pocket, then we will have the details in the show notes of that Kickstarter fund. And Rylee is an incredible and inspirational individual. and it would be great if anyone is able to provide that support. So more on the crossing when we go into the main season.
Yeah, good luck, Rylee. And I think you can follow. I think it's called the Cystic Fibrosis Crossing, isn't it, Simon?
It is. All links in the show notes, and we'll be doing far more and we'll be following that as we go through the season. I think my mouth might have sort of slightly frozen.
12 hours, mate. How are you going to cope?
I know. I'm just getting my...
Do you want a drink?
So I'm sitting here with Tony, the head honcho at the SUP company. Thanks very much for inviting us down to the demo event today. Can you just tell us a little bit about the SUP company?
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as head honcho goes, it's definitely a part of the team. So I'm really fortunate I've got some people that have been with me for a long period of time. So yeah, we're definitely a team, a bit of a family really. So the SUP company, yeah, I mean, this is our 10th year. So I founded it back in the end of 2014. And we've grown over the years to be a pretty well recognised business within the sector, I think. And one of the standout things for us from the very first iterations of our shop was test. Everything was built around demo and giving people the opportunity to really make an informed decision before parting with their hard-earned money. And in some cases, it's not a small amount of money.
Yeah.
And I'd much be far more comfortable with people making a decision that they've based on test, as opposed to just somebody regurgitating a brochure, somebody just telling somebody about a website. I want people to come down physically, hands-on product, put product head to head, and that's why days like this are the norm for us. And this, if anything, is a normal day for us. There's just a few more boards, some of our brand partners are here, a few more flags up, but other than this, this is us 7 days a week.
Fantastic, and it's a lovely day and a fantastic place to test here, because it's all sort of flat water, pretty sheltered. Absolutely lovely.
Yeah, super benign. We're right at the very top of Southampton Water, centrally located on the south coast of the UK, at the top of the River Itchen. It is tidal here, but we benefit from two highs in Southampton, so we have water for a long period of time. And then, super sheltered. If anything, that's kind of something that can work against us a little bit. But we actually have another shop now over in Cowshop, which is still in the Southampton district. But there we focus really on winging and foiling much more than we do here. This is really our paddleboard shop. And it's just, we have a lot of people travel some distance to us here.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for keeping us fueled up. I particularly enjoyed the sausage sandwich and coffee combination, so I can speak very highly for the services offered by your cafe here. The other thing that came to light this week was the announcement about the ICF World Cup event in Torbay. How's that likely to affect the way that you do business, and what are your feelings about that event coming to the UK in 2026?
How brilliant is it that an event like that's coming to the UK? I'd argue long overdue, but the amount of work that must have undertaken in order to achieve that and get that here to the UK is just phenomenal. So everyone involved in that campaign to get that here, then hats off to them. I think now really, while we have a good solid racing community within the UK, and we sell a lot of raceboard product, really to see those leisure paddlers, that kind of bridge to mass participation that everyone kind of crossed during those COVID years, which on one hand feels so long ago, but in others it's still quite fresh in the memory, it'll be great to have everyone that took up the sport to kind of see that racing is a thing. I remember we do a lot of exhibitions and trade shows, varied range from camping shows through to the Southampton Boat Show, for example. And most recently we had a starboard sprint, 14 foot, 25, I think maybe even 23 board on display on the stand. And you would have everyone come up, walk by, and it would be, I've got a paddleboard, great, da-da-da. Is this a canoe? And you're like, no, this is a raceboard. Oh, they race them. Yeah, racing's a thing.
Yeah.
So, there's still, while paddleboarding has most definitely crossed over into kind of the public's general consciousness as to what you can do with a board and all the different disciplines that sit within it, from white water right the way through to flat down the line sprinting, and then everything else in between. I think the wider public aren't aware that there are all those opportunities and different facets and corners to the sport. So having an event like that coming here in 2026, fantastic. It's just going to provide a fantastic showcase with which to inspire everyone that has an inflatable paddleboard, invariably it's inflatable, to go on in their paddleboarding journey.
Absolutely, and I think we probably share the same mission, because that's the ethos behind the podcast, to show the breadth of opportunities there are for stand-up paddleboarding. And also it is coincidentally our 10th year anniversary this year as well.
Oh, congratulations.
So, we're birthday buddies. Brilliant. Thanks ever so much for the hospitality today. It's been a fantastic day. It's been great to meet you.
Yeah, you
and
too.
See you again.
Oh, thank you very much. Look forward to it.
Hi everybody, I'm here with Sonia Brotherton, who you may or may not know is a stand-up paddleboard racer, triathlete. You used to do modern pentathlon?
Correct, yes.
Yep.
Well remembered.
And yes, I don't forget things like that. And you started SUP racing, you did really well, and then you sort of had a bit of a break, didn't you? You sort of, well, you didn't have a break, you went back to something else, didn't you? Can you just explain that?
Yeah, so back in the day I did modern pentathlon. I had to retire because I had a herniated disc in my lower back and lost the use of my left leg. Had surgery, and it was 17 years I hadn't run, and then I tentatively started back to it 2 years ago, realised I could run again, and so just thought multi-sport was my thing, and I took up triathlon. Being a strength and conditioning coach as well, I wanted to go down that route for training triathletes or stand-up paddle racers, so I kind of went all in and tried to qualify for the Team GB age group, which I did, and yeah, it was all good. But I want to come back to SUP.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it excites me that you want to come back to SUP. It's really nice to see you here today at the SUP company. But you know, I follow you obviously, and you did really, really well with the triathlon stuff. And the age categories are so important, aren't they? Not only in SUP racing, but all sports actually.
Yeah.
I know that. Age race categories are really necessary, aren't they?
Oh, I think so. And the beautiful thing about triathlon is you aren't treated like a second-rate athlete. It's so embracing, it's so inclusive. You are really made to feel like if you're qualifying for age group, you have really, really done well, and it's something to be super proud of. But not to say I'm not proud of doing my SUP age group. And first year now, what was it, 50 plus veteran now?
Yeah.
So it's really exciting to come back to it and be in that new category, and hopefully continue to do really well.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, because you put the time and effort in, Sonia. And so the big news this week, and we keep talking about it, but it is so exciting, is the ICF SUP World Cup that is coming to Torbay in June 2026. Now, what were your initial thoughts when you first heard that news on social media?
I had no idea it was even in the pipeline. Someone's been very busy behind the scenes, and I was so excited because I had the pleasure of going to Torbay to do a coastal leadership assessment. I was actually a guinea pig on one, and it's a beautiful, beautiful area, absolutely stunning location. And having watched SUP 12 quite avidly, I've not been, I really want to do it, but it just looks amazing, and knowing Brendon is involved with the organisation of it, it's going to be super slick. ICF anyway, a lot of people think of it as being more flat water, but having done Poland, we all know that the ocean conditions in ICF were not easy.
Yeah, you were there. It was just crazy mental, wasn't it?
It was, and I had made that conscious decision not to do last year, not to do Dubai, but was coming back this for 26 anyway to do the Italian event. And so when they announced this in Torbay, I was just like, please not September, because it clashes with a lot of familial commitments. And luckily it's in June, so really
it's almost like the stars have aligned for Sonia.
Yes, they have. Well, let's just fingers crossed they can stay sound.
Coming back to SUP racing, knowing that you wanted to go to Sicily for the ICF World Championships. And again, the thing that is really popular about the ICF events is the age categories. You know, you've got the open class, you've got 40 plus, 50 plus, and we all know you can pitch up, be fit, win a gold medal.
Absolutely.
As did Anna Little, in the sprint.
And Marie,
absolutely
Lucy,
amazing.
and Sarah.
Yes, exactly. And Ginny at a SUP World in Kamakio last year as well. So it's achievable, isn't it? And how exciting to be just on a world stage with international athletes. I think that's what I'm most excited about, is seeing the international athletes coming to us for once. And
yes,
we can host them, we can look after them,
and
we
wear
can
some
look after you
neoprene
guys.
for a change. Or maybe not in June.
Yeah, hopefully not in June. But that would be really great to see you there. And Steve, is he racing this year?
He is. Again, you don't get to our age and not have a few niggles.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's Grand Kahuna, so he gets a few more than me. But yeah, the intention is we have relocated. I sold the equestrian centre that I had previously and relocated to the River Hamble. And so between Hayling Island, which is our normal stomping ground, and the River Hamble, we should get plenty of paddling in to really get us 15 months of preparation.
Amazing. This is why I do this. I love to talk to you. And we've literally grabbed you off the water, haven't we?
Yeah, I've just done a TT.
Nothing is ever scripted with us guys. So, but this is what we want to hear. We want to hear the excitement level in someone who's just about to step back into SUP racing. We wish you the very best of luck this year.
Thank you.
And we will be following you, of course, and wishing you really well. But we know that you're hardcore training, and you also have a coaching, you mentioned it earlier, you have a coaching business, so
yep.
Can you
tell
us a little bit about that?
Core Flow, I'm a strength and conditioning coach and personal trainer, but I'm also a stand-up paddling racing performance coach. I was the first ever one. I don't know if there's any more actually since I did it. So I can do in-person one-to-one coaching, performance coaching for SUP, and I also do online strength and conditioning coaching, so that can be programs on my app for weight training, resistance training, but I also use Training Peaks a lot. I'm a little bit of a geek for Training Peaks. I love it, and it's just such a useful tool to really help motivate people and program them what they need to be doing correctly, because I think with stand-up paddling in particular, because it's been quite a new sport, there's not enough education around how to get fit, stay fit, the recovery side of things more important. And I'm a nutritionist as well, so I bring that into the mix.
Cool. Well, it sounds a good place to go and visit. Sonia, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Sonia Brotherton, Core Flow, and watch this lady on the water, because she is good. And I remember when you first came up, I think you were one of my ones to watch. And you're just really good at it, and you obviously love it. So it's really
absolutely
nice to see you back on the water. So
thank you.
Sonia Brotherton, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So I'm joined by the esteemed Paul Simmons, Supremo of starboard in the UK, can I say that?
You can if you like, of course.
Excellent, and winner of SUP 12 last year. So you're down here in Southampton, not your normal stomping ground. What are you here doing?
We're here for the SUP company stand-up paddle demo, and we've got sunshine, we've got a good turnout, people trying boards all the time. It's fantastic.
Brilliant, and lots of people down here trying out the boards, which is great, particularly this early on in the season. So it would be wrong of me not to ask you about SUP 12 last year. You were the winner. Are you competing this year?
I am, yes. It's relatively close to me. It's less than an hour away from home, and I thought, why not? And it's always good to have a big event to look forward to focus the mind and get a bit of training in the colder, less motivating part of the season. So having an event like that has forced me to get fit, do a bit more running, lose a bit of weight.
Exactly, yeah, it certainly concentrates the mind in that early part of the season, builds up that endurance. As a previous winner, would you have any hints or tips to anyone competing?
Be quite steady, don't try to go too hard too quickly, keep fueling regularly, and don't get focused on racing someone that maybe is too quick for you. Keep pacing yourself and keep drinking, keep eating.
Brilliant. And on the refuelling, are you a Haribo aficionado, jelly babies, or what's your preferred?
I tend to make my own concoction of lots of various fruit and nuts and a little bit of chocolate in there as well, but things that you can shove in your mouth and then sort of munch away while you're still back paddling again.
Brilliant. So obviously a secret formula there. I won't delve into the detail of that. And just finally, Paul, obviously Starboard is a renowned racing brand. There was the announcement earlier this week about the ICF World Cup coming to Torbay. What are your thoughts about that?
I think anything that grows the sport and gets more people racing and brings elite paddlers in that inspire others as well is good for the sport. We don't see that level of racing in the UK very often, so it should help not only raise the standard but also attract more people into it that maybe wouldn't have thought about it before. So yeah, it should be good.
Well, brilliant. Thanks very much. I think you've got some customers waiting to see you, but thanks for your support for the podcast. It's very much appreciated. You've been in there since the start, so thanks for your help, and I hope you have a successful season.
Thank you very much, and keep up the good work. Cheers.
All right, do a couple of minutes. So joined by SUP Manning, legend of the sport. You were back there in the early days, weren't you, Jay?
Yeah, black and white days, I think.
Black and white days.
Like it.
And so what are you doing down here in Southampton?
Well, basically Fnatic. Just basically got the new 2025 ISUPs, which are on official launch next week. So showing them off, and it's quite exciting actually. It's been like 2 or 3 years since we've actually released the inflatable, so we've got our new colours and everything. So it's nice to bring something out, show the public, and so I'm looking forward to have a good year on these boards.
Excellent. And you go around the country, don't you?
Yeah,
all these sorts of events.
Yeah, we do. I mean, things have changed a lot over the years, but we obviously supply boards through like the SUP company and other big dealers, so we get invited down to showcase and stuff, so it's not as busy as it used to be. I used to feel like every other week or somewhere, so we get maybe 1 a month, 2 a month now. Hopefully with the new boards, we're going to the next dealer shop, so it's still nice because you just get to see people you haven't seen for a while, a bit like yourself. I haven't seen you for a few years. It's an exciting year. So the inflatables and then the brand and everything, so it's still a tough time as well. It's still tough.
The industry's very much matured, I guess, from the sort of post-COVID push. But
that's it. It's mad, but it's nice having something new out there to show, and you've got the Fnatic followers and the lovers, and then they want something new. I've been putting some feelers out in the last week with some censored stuff that not showing the boards, and people especially going, oh come on, show me. So it's nice teasing people, and then those people will probably go, oh, do you know what, I'm going to get a new one. I like the new ones. And, they're a little bit more special, with more better technology coming out now and stuff, and our boards are so stiff and they're so light. I mean, it's incredible the way they're going, and you just think, how are they getting another level of quality in this, but it's nice to be at the top end as a premium brand, one of the original. Literally the top brand. So it's nice to be up there, and this boards are that. You know what I mean? So, and the pricing has come down a little bit, so it's still affordable.
So as a racer who was there right at the start in the UK, what are your thoughts about the announcement this week about the ICF World Cup coming to Torbay in 2026?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I remember the one in London a few years ago, which was great. It's great to have these big platform things coming to the UK, and we don't get enough of that, I don't think. And Torquay's a beautiful place. I've been down there quite a few times at demos and events over the years, so lovely spot, perfect stage for world-class players to come down and do their stuff. And I think that's quite good. It's good to have that. We need to have some more of that back in, and this is going to be good. I think it'll be good. I'm looking forward to seeing who's around, and there's loads of new riders, and and some of the old ones that are still there are good. So that should be good stage, I reckon, down there.
Brilliant, great.
Really good news.
Well, I think it was the APP in London.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I thought maybe it's like a different thing. But APP, London, they've done a couple. I was down there doing some other stuff with them. I wasn't competing, but it was great because you had all the athletes there, and little after parties, and and talking, hanging out, talking to everyone. You know what I mean? Everyone sort of knows everyone, and there's old faces. It's great. I'm hoping to be down there. If I'm not doing anything, I'll come down. I don't know what demo wise, they're going to be doing things that I don't know. But
Yeah.
I won't be competing. I'm getting a bit on now, and I'm doing other stuff as well, so it's quite nice. But
Brilliant.
the first stage, that's a good backdrop down there.
Brilliant. Well, great to see you.
Yes, sir, mate. Always a pleasure, mate. You know what I mean?
There we go. Lovely. Thanks,
Good,
mate.
That's all right. Yeah.
So finally, just targeting our activities for 2025, we've got the Super Championships coming up in early September, and that is a precursor to next year's World Cup. But the experience we had this year was absolutely tremendous, wasn't it?
Oh, we had so much fun, and I know what we're both thinking. We're just thinking SUP polo, but there was a lot else to it, wasn't there? There were straight line sprints off a pontoon coming towards the beach, which were really, really exciting. There was a great tech course in the harbour there from that beach, Abbey Sands. And then there was a little bit in the harbour actually as well, which I know is going to be used for the ICF SUP World Cup.
It was all class racing, wasn't it?
Yeah, all class racing. So we had a one design racing, which was great for those people who've never almost even stood on a board before. They had a great deal of fun. And we had a fantastic distance race around the headland. That was brought forward. The weather was a little bit gnarly, but we had choices. We had choices of where they could paddle, what they could do, and everything almost got done. But the SUP polo on the last day in the harbour, I don't think I've ever laughed so much. And the video that you put together, which is on the SUPJunkie page, is just on the YouTube channel as well, I think, is just hilarious to watch, because Brendon put in a sort of world class team.
Yeah, all stars.
All stars. You were part of that. I mean, these are people. You'd never done SUP polo, I don't think. Had you, Simon?
I hadn't.
Steep learning curve.
It was. My tactical and strategic role was more of a midfield enforcer and blocker. So there wasn't much subtlety to my game, but it was brilliant fun. And although our team was being absolutely hammered, I think 11 goals to nil, there was last goal wins, and we managed to fluke it. So I'm going to accept that title on behalf of the team. But great fun, and obviously a precursor. And there's also an ocean festival which is going to be combined with Super Champs this year as well. So there's going to be more details on that. But if you're a racer who's wanting to compete in the ICF World Cup in 2026, it's a really good opportunity to come down, experience Torbay, get your nutrition strategy right, pick your hotel, work out what the sort of conditions are that you might be dealing with, and just getting some familiarity with the area. So whether you're coming from abroad, if you're an international from the States, from Canada, or from Europe, it's a really great opportunity just to come down and experience the joys of Torbay.
Yeah, and it is really, everything's easy down there, isn't it? From the marina to Torbay Sands Beach is 5 minutes walk. It's all very easy, and actually the other thing that Brendon has got this year is the boardroom Torquay. So he has got this space, hasn't he, which is again really convenient. It's a huge space, and he's popping in local businesses, and I'm sure that will be utilised for both those events. But yeah, the Super Champs is great. It encompasses all paddlers of any ability. I think there might be some juniors involved this year, maybe different ability racing as well. So keep your eyes out. It's at the beginning of September, and as you say, it's a great sort of precursor to the World Championships. The World World Cup is 15 months away. That is no time at all. Yeah. So we're very much looking forward to Super Champs, SUP 12 and Super Champs this year.
Brilliant. Good. Okay. So that's the end of this emergency podcast. Some great news coming to the UK in terms of the ICF World Cup. I mean, we were just so delighted to hear that, and that's a huge opportunity. So if you are coming, if you're planning to come to Great Britain, whether it's 2025 or 26, please stick that one in your diary. We're going to have a range of international elite paddlers coming down, and it's going to be a true festival of the sports.
And the other thing which is really important to some racers, international racers, is prize money. It's always been a difficult thing to try and give.
Yeah.
If you have, as a race, if you have no sponsorship, or it's really tough, but it's an ICF World Cup event. There will be prize money.
Yeah.
So that is a huge draw, and I know that from my interview with Brendon on the other day that they really want to do everything they can to get the international paddlers over to really help them come to this event. It's really important, isn't it? And that's where the SUP community really comes into its own. And if there's if there are any questions that anybody wants to know, you can get it, try and get hold of Brendon if you can. But Simon and I are always here to, if we don't know the answer, we will hopefully find out for you. So come and hit us up, and if there's any help that we can give to any international paddlers, you're always really helpful to us. When I've been abroad, it's always an offer that someone will help. So it's time for us to step up and reciprocate, I think.
Absolutely.
We look forward to seeing you all.
Always happy to do so. Good. So that's it. That's the end. Thank you very much for joining us from down here on Southampton and the SUP company. And I think you're going to go and test a few boards now, aren't you?
Definitely. Don't need a new race board, but hey, they look gorgeous. And I'm here, so I'm going to check them out. And also check out the Red Paddle Co. Future Series. Tony has all of them, I think. So I'm going to go and have a look at some of those because they are quite innovative, and for anybody who loves red paddleboards, they are lighter. Hallelujah! Right. So yeah, it's a great venue. The sun is shining. You can tell from what we're wearing. It's quite fresh, but hey, we're in the middle of March, so the sun is shining and it's beautiful. So
excellent. Well, see you on the water.
See you on the water.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.